she's got to lose 100 pounds in 4 months.
Instead of like bringing the bad food in the house, can you take it to your car?
Howdy, fam. And this is Trish with Black Women Sisterhood. And today I am going to be doing my Sassy Sister reviews. Now, please like, comment, share, and subscribe for more delicious content. In my first video, I am going to be reviewing the series 1,000 Pound Sisters. And this episode is titled Something About Jerry. Now, the first scene starts with Amy and Michael coming into Tammy's place. They come in with a Halloween bucket and some decorations. Now, I'm assuming it's for the house, but it also could be for one of their future YouTube videos, because they do like to prep the scenes for their videos. And that's one of the things that I like, is that they do try to at least create a different feeling for the YouTube videos on their pages. And so I do really like that. And the scene, it flashes back to last week's episode when Amy told Tammy that she and Michael will be moving soon. So, of course, Tammy, she gave her usual mad look that she always have, and she did not take the news well. But she told Amy that she'll be fine. She said, "Don't worry about me." And she said it with an attitude, of course, but she said that she would be good. Now, I will be honest with you. I believe that Tammy was lying, because she barely can walk without Amy, and she barely can get around. She can walk just a little bit, but she's very immobile, and so she won't be able to get her living necessities if she keep this up. Now, if she changes down the road, maybe she can live on her own completely. But I do feel like right now, on her current path, I don't know if she can do it. So then Jerry calls. And Tammy, she starts smiling. She lights up. She starts grinning. Her little tooth in front is showing. And then after that, she gets off the line with him. It was a very short call. And so Amy, she turns around and she's like, "Who was that?" And that's when Tammy tells her it was Jerry and he'll be visiting town soon. And so Amy, she looked a little kind of shocked. And actually Amy was shocked. She actually said it. She stated it was because Tammy haven't seen Jerry in a year. Now, this part did kind of confuse me, because I do remember Tammy saying that she met Jerry last year, but you couldn't tell by the way she's acting in this episode, because she acts very shy when it comes time to actually meet him. She was extremely nervous, and so that did kind of put me off. Like, well, didn't you already see him before? That was just my initial thought. And so then finally comes the day when Jerry arrives. Oh yes, Mr. Jerry arrives. He gets out of the car. He greets Tammy with a big hug. And immediately, I look at the difference between their weight. Because when he hugged her, he looked like a little twig. He was the size of one of her legs. And so I thought this dynamic difference in weight was very interesting, to be honest. And Tammy, she's all giddy, she's happy, she's nice talking to him. One of the few times I've ever seen Tammy be nice, to be honest. And then this is where I feel like things go downhill, because as the scene goes on, it's getting time for him to meet the family. So they have their little talk on the porch, but eventually he's going to have to meet the family. And so, me personally, when it comes to Jerry, I do like Jerry. He seems like a very genuine, easygoing person. and he smiles often. However, that could also be why there was some drama last year, about him being married. But that neither here or there. Now, there is sometimes a downside when you're dating someone who smiles a lot and who's very outgoing, because sometimes they can be interpreted as flirty. And so Tammy, she may have to watch out for that, because some people could interpret him as flirting with them. And then they did meet in a chat room full of BBWs, so we know that he liked bigger women. And that was also a concern for me, because if his preference is big women and Tammy is supposed to be losing weight, I do worry if down the line in her weight loss journey, if that's going to cause some incompatibility. Now, this is where the harmonious meeting goes downhill, because Amy and Michael, they come out on the porch where Jerry and Tammy is. And then Amy, she comes, she introduces herself and greets Jerry. And immediately, this girl starts grilling him, asking him questions like, how many kids you got? How many grandkids you got? And, Jerry, he's like, whoa. So Jerry starts counting on his fingers, trying to figure out how many grandkids he got. And then, Tammy kind of notices, so she's like, dang, you got to count on your fingers how many grandkids you got? And Jerry, he looked a little bit embarrassed at that. Now, that scene was very funny. And I'm sure that kind of put a few things in the back of Amy's head, like, it's like a red flag or something, right? But anyway, Jerry was still very nice. And so, Amy, she was asking a lot of questions. And then she started, she stated she wanted to make sure that he's not a bad person. Now, I do understand that she wants to protect her sister, but she does have to allow Tammy to make her own decisions as an adult, and she also has to be nice to a person when you first meet them. You can't just grill someone and automatically assume that they're bad. You can't assume the worst of a person just meeting them. You have to get to know that person and then see if they give you any red flags or if they do something wrong before you just assume that they're bad. And so also, Tammy, she has been knowing him for a couple of years. And so even if they don't have a romantic relationship at the end, maybe they can have a long-term friendship if things fizzle out. Now, as they're chatting it up and getting to know each other, Jerry pulls out some candy.
We can't have that. I have to have you stop making noise. Sorry. Your mic just picks it up.
I understand.
What the hell is it?
What's candy?
Is it sugar free?
Nope.
Oh my god. We just can't eat it right now because we're on diets.
Okay, I understand.
Do you need that much candy? Like,
I just have to have it.
Now, I gotta be honest, that scene annoyed me big time. For starters, a pet peeve of mine is people saying stuff that is very obvious. Like when the producer told him that he couldn't make noises with his candy as he was getting it out of his pocket. Now, obviously, if someone is getting something out of their pocket, it's in a transition move. They're not going to be making that noise the whole duration of the show. And so I really kind of got annoyed at why would they even say that to him? That was silly. Obviously, he wasn't going to keep making that noise for a long-term period of time. And so the next thing that annoyed me was Amy asking him if the candy was sugar-free. Now, Amy, girl, I love you, boo. But come on now. You ain't getting no 400 pounds by eating anything sugar-free, sweetie. And so in the next scene, actually, Amy is literally playing trick or treat with sweets. Nothing is sugar free. They were playing a trick or treat game for their YouTube channel, and they're eating sweets. Amy is stuffing her mouth full of marshmallows, and nothing on that table was sugar free besides the paper plates. And I promise you. And then also, not only that, but speaking on the health situation, later on that day, Amy and Michael, they had a video call with Dr. P. And he have Amy steps on the scale. For her, she had gained 2 pounds. Now, Amy's weight is perfectly fine for her to lose weight while being pregnant at her weight, because she already started out very overweight. And she was supposed to continue doing that with the moderation of her doctor. Now, I can tell that Dr. P, he was not too happy about her weight gain. As he mentioned, he fears, her using her pregnancy not to adhere to her diet that she's supposed to be on, but she is still supposed to be losing weight. And so I don't see how she's getting on Jerry about bringing candy when she often eats terrible. In her health condition, she needs to be as healthy as possible. And then in the later scenes, Jerry, he meets their big sister, Misty. Now, she too have reservations about Jerry.
First impression of Jerry, he's too quiet. I don't trust quiet people.
Yeah, so Misty, she says that she doesn't like Jerry because he is too quiet, and that she doesn't like quiet people. Now, she stated she didn't like quiet people, but I think her assessment of Jerry was a little bit unreasonable, considering the fact that most people are quiet when they first meet you, and when they first meet someone until they get better acquainted with that person. Also, in most of the scenes, I feel like Jerry actually was very cordial. He was joking with them, he was smiling, and he was really conversing with them. And so I actually kind of feel like she was actually wrong about that assessment of him, about him being quiet. But I still keep getting the feeling that Misty probably would have had something against him, regardless of how often he talked. And so she is entitled to her opinion, but that's just my opinion. And now, after that initial meeting, they did go costume shopping, and it was for Halloween. Now, they went costume shopping to go to the haunted hayride. And the only costume that Tammy could fit in was a bat's costume. And the bat costume, it was honestly just a hoodie with fur and ears on it. And so they all were kind of wearing black and yellow, black and gold, and everyone tried to kind of have on similar colors. Now, Amy, she was able to fit into some normal sized, well, they were still big sizes because she's still pretty big, but she was able to fit in some actual costumes. I do feel bad that Tammy pretty much just had a hoodie with some fur on it. But okay. And but that could also be due to her, she was still sneaking stuff. We know that she was 644 pounds the last weigh in, and that Amy had found
Kind of disappointed with
candy
Tammy
and
because
stuff.
look at this. One of the things I have to do for Tammy is take out her trash, and I discovered that she had a bunch of candy wrappers and stuff in them. I'm disappointed, I'm hurt, because I'm trying my best, trying to help her out, and this is what she does.
Now, as you see, Tammy was already eating bad way before Jerry came out there, because that was from last week's episode. That wasn't even the most recent episode where she was sneaking candy and eating stuff that she was not supposed to be eating, knowing way better than that. And so, anyway, getting back to the story. After that, after they went costume shopping and they were heading for the haunted hayride for later that night. Now, Tammy, she had an extremely hard time getting in a van so that they can go to the haunted hayride. Amy asked her if she's okay. That's all Amy asked. And then Tammy snapped on Amy, like she always does. Soon as Amy said, "Are you okay?" Tammy was like, "Amy, shut up." And it was just like, wow, like, I don't understand why she has such an attitude with Amy when Amy is being nice. But one thing I did notice is that Misty asked her the same thing, and Tammy did not get an attitude with her. Am I the only one that's been noticing that she only gets an attitude with Amy? Like, she never gets an attitude with Chris when he's questioning her about her weight, although he is very fat himself. And she don't get an attitude with no one else besides Amy. Everybody else, all the other siblings can criticize her, but she will only go off on Amy. And so I do think Amy needs to start sticking up for herself, maybe just a little bit. Now, during the car ride there, Misty started drilling Jerry about his attentions with Tammy. And I'm just thinking, poor Jerry. This man just can't get a break at all. Any time of this trip, he just ain't gonna catch no break, right? And so he tells Misty, look, me and Tammy were getting to know each other. We just trying to see what it is. Basically, he's telling her we just friends. We just getting to know each other. And then Tammy, to my surprise, she says, I'm trying to get him to put a ring on it. And so you know what that means. And so that concerned me a lot because, well, that made me think that the two of them view their relationship differently. And I think that may cause some problems down the line. I feel like he may not be that serious about Tammy if he's saying that he's just trying to fill it out. And so Tammy, she should be cautious because she may be moving too fast. And he could also be moving too slow for her. And so they get to the haunted hayride. To my surprise, they all have a really good time. They have a great time on the hayride. It seems like they all kind of let their tensions go and their concerns about Jerry and his attentions. And they were all able to just be in the moment. And I thought that was really good. Then come the scene when they get ready to get something to eat. So they all go sitting down at the table, because of course they gotta eat, they big. And then, well, I'm sorry, I don't even say it like that, but of course they would have gotten hungry. They're all kind of overweight, and so yeah, and plus they probably didn't eat that day. So anyway, but they all get to the table and the waiters come and ask them what do they want to eat. And Tammy gonna have the nerve to look at them and ask them straight in their face, do you guys serve anything healthy? And I'm thinking in my head, Tammy, why would you go to an outside place and think that they're just going to have healthy food on hand? If you wanted something healthy, you could have brung you a lunch. You could have packed you a healthy lunch. And so they told her, no, all we got is nachos, chili, and hot dogs. And so they all chose to get the chili. They figured that would be the most healthiest option, which to me, I don't see how. But anyway, and so just when things are finally going okay for Jerry, Amy starts drilling him again.
Well, for her, she eats a lot. She does. I'm just being real with you.
Yeah.
I don't mind you eating it. It's her that I might eat. Jerry's been enabling her by bringing her sweets. So I think he needs help to figure out, hey, this is serious. You keep feeding her like this, she will die.
Fam, just when I thought I couldn't be more annoyed. That scene, oh my goodness, that scene really annoyed me. Here we go. We got Amy trying to place all of the responsibility on Jerry, and he literally got there like 2 days ago. Whereas Tammy, she's been living with Amy for 7 years now, and she ballooned up to 644 pounds. And this was all done on Amy's watch, when Amy was supposed to be the one stepping up, claiming that she's helping her. And then Amy herself ballooned up to 400 pounds on her own watch. And so now all of a sudden they want to blame the skinniest person there, which is Jerry. And then they're acting like his bag of candy is the culprit of Tammy's massive weight gain. I was just really shocked and astonished at Amy. I couldn't believe that she was acting like that. Like, where is the accountability for Tammy for her own weight? And then it dawned on me, why the heck is Amy acting as if she's Mrs. Fit and healthy when in the first episode she had gulped down so many baby back ribs and pork links that, I mean, it could barely fit on the plate, and they almost ran out of food. And Big Chris even had to tell her to stop eating up all the food and getting so many plates.
Thinking about getting another plate.
What? Amy has had the surgery, and she shouldn't be eating much more than a portion size of a baseball. She ain't supposed to be eating but like maybe a half a plate at a time.
So what if I got 2 plates? I'm eating for 2 now.
I mean, come on, fam. You guys saw that scene. And let's not forget that it was literally just last week, on last week's episode, that Amy had ate so much Chinese food and stuffed herself so much that it skyrocketed her blood pressure, and she had to go to the hospital having an emergency situation.
What happened? What they say?
Ate too much Chinese food. I ate some Chinese food for breakfast.
Was that crazy or what? And don't get me wrong, I am so happy that she was okay and that everything went well. And I'm happy that she's okay health-wise. But her telling Jerry that he needs to be more disciplined, it's like calling the pot, it's kind of like the pot calling the kettle black, you know? And so she really needs to practice what she preach, because it's starting to make me wonder if there is some validity to what Tammy says about her being dramatic and being hypocritical. And so that's just a little thought of mine, you know, because I'm kind of starting to look at Amy in another light. Usually I look at her as the innocent one, but who knows what happens behind the scenes. Well, fam, I gotta say, that pretty much sums up this episode. In the next episode preview, what I saw is that Chris is going to be driving Tammy around, and he's going to ask her about a big milkshake that was in her room. And then Tammy, she told Chris that it was Jerry. Now, of course, that made Chris super mad at Jerry. And I'm hoping that he's not going to join the I don't like Jerry train, but we will just have to stick in, and we will have to tune in Monday and see what will happen. And so that's going to be this next episode, and I really can't wait to see it. Now, the reality of this situation is, in closing, what I'll say is that although I like Jerry, and I do feel like they are kind of looking for someone to blame for Tammy's weight, because they don't like holding her accountable like they should. But while I like Jerry, now if he is giving her and sneaking her food, what I will say is he doesn't need to be there if he's going to enable her to continue down her bad path. Now, she was already on her current bad path on her own, but he doesn't need to come there and add to it. And so if he is going to be like that and he's going to be an enabler, he needs to leave. But we'll see. As of right now, we really don't know everything based off the preview. And Tammy, she'll be revealing the secret next week. Now, I think I got a feeling of what that secret may be. A few of the options I think it could be is she's either a virgin, or she's either had a pregnancy before. She could have been engaged, but on one of the clips I saw, they stated that Tammy, all of her relationships has been online. They kind of let that slip out. And so she may not have ever had a real boyfriend before. But we don't know. So we have to see next week what the secret is going to be. And so we'll see what she reveals. But you guys stay tuned. I appreciate you all for tuning in. Now keep in mind, this is my first review. And so I thank you guys so much for looking at my video and coming here. So please like, share, comment, and subscribe. And once again, this is Trish with the Sassy Sister Reviews. I'll see you guys next time. And I'm also going to be creating a separate page for my review. So thank you. You guys have a good day. Bye.